Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with another action figure review. It's night 2 of the WWE Draft, this time on Monday Night Raw. Night 1 was really weird, so let's see if they are able to fix things or just make them worse. As always, if you're new here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more pro wrestling and action figure content. Now, we're headed into the Thunderdome. So, for a recap and review, let's take it over the action figures. Raw opens with Randy Orton, who says he doesn't care which brand he ends up on because either way he's only focused on Drew McIntyre's title. That brings out Drew, who says the punt he gave Orton at Clash of Champions was for every person that Randy's ever screwed over. But the suffering he's gonna cause at Hell in a Cell? Well, that's for him. He heads to the ring and they brawl. McIntyre gets the upper hand and promises to kick Randy's ass all night long. In round 1 of the draft, Raw starts with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, which lines up with the rumors heading into the night. They also take Randy Orton. No, I am sick and tired of this feud with Drew McIntyre, and he needed a change of scenery. It looks like Hell in a Cell won't be the end of this feud. Finally, they take Charlotte Flair, who's injured, so cool I guess. SmackDown picks their women's champion, Bayley, so she can continue feuding with Sasha Banks. Then, they pick the Street Profits. That makes no sense. All the tag teams I can think of were either sent to Raw or broken up. What teams are even left on SmackDown? Just unify the belts already. Aleister Black is already in the ring, because they got rid of his awesome entrance, to take on Kevin Owens in a no DQ match. Just like on SmackDown, KO sprints to the ring and goes straight for Black. There's lots of barricade-based offense early on, culminating with Aleister throwing Owens through the announcer's table. During a commercial, they move on to chairs. KO sets up 4 of them in the ring and goes to suplex Black, but it's reversed. He winds up laying across the chairs as Aleister delivers a nasty-looking double knees to the chest from the top rope. They introduce a table, and Owens manages to powerbomb Aleister through it. It's enough to make the pin and pick up the victory. Raw opens round 2 by selecting Braun Strowman. No big surprise there, he was rumored to be following Bray Wyatt. They also pick Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. Riddle should be off TV, but moving him is probably best considering all the backstage heat he has on SmackDown. I feel like Jeff works better on Fridays and should have stayed there. He could have had a good run at Roman and the belt. Oh well. SmackDown keeps Daniel Bryan, who's done good work with Drew Gulak there, and drafts Kevin Owens over from Raw. He's one of my favorites, but I wish they'd separate him from Seth. The dirt sheet is back to Miz TV, featuring John Morrison, as a consequence of their move to Raw. They mock New Day's apparent separation and claim responsibility for breaking up Heavy Machinery using Miz's connections at USA. They introduce their guests, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. The newly formed tag team comes out to new music and a new look. Mandy calls Miz petty for getting her moved over to Raw and trying to ruin her relationship with Otis. He counters by claiming that she's winning more now. Is she though? So if anything, she should thank him. Moving on, they talk about how it'll be every woman for herself in the Battle Royale later. That brings out Natalya and Lana, who brags about her social media clout and shockingly references her, quote, 2 ex-husbands and ex-girlfriend, as the reason that Miz should interview them instead. They exchange words and a few fists, then Mandy and Dana stand tall. Miz decides to interview Morrison instead, but they're interrupted by Lars Sullivan. This is getting really bad because even more private messages were just released by a yoga instructor that was sexually harassed by him. Yet here he is again. Worse still, they teased another tag team breakup when Miz ran away and allowed Morrison to eat a freak accident. Not really the GM Adam Pearce can apparently still authorize a tag team title exchange between the New Day and Street Profits. Before they do, Angelo Dawkins reveals that his belt is named Patricia. And do you have any idea how long it took me to figure that out? My fantasy booking would have been for them to casually pass backstage, knowingly look each other up and down, exchange the belts without speaking, and then just walk away. In walks Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They won a number 1 contenders match I don't remember, and demand a title shot. New Raw champions, the New Day, accept their challenge for later tonight. The nonsense continues as Raw drafts all of Retribution in round 3. Nothing says anarchy like getting drafted and sticking to one show. Also, there's differing reports about Mercedes Martinez's status with the group, and contradictory graphics didn't help. Interesting note, between these guys and the Hurt Business, Raw got 9 people with only 2 picks. They also keep Keith Lee so they can continue ruining him and pick up Alexa Bliss to go along with The Fiend. SmackDown inexplicably selects Lars Sullivan, sending him to network television instead of firing him. And they keep King Corbin just because. Seth comes out for his final words on Raw and asks who will step in to fill his shoes. Jeff Hardy answers the call and wants to fight, but Seth just laughs and says he should focus on his match with Lars Sullivan this Friday, which is news to both Jeff and to us. Seth heads up the ramp and passes AJ Styles. They smile at each other until AJ says, "You keep steppin', this never was Monday Night Rollins anyway." Seth turns around and confronts him, only for Jeff to take them both out. He's got unfinished business with AJ and wants to prove that Raw is in good hands to Seth, so he accidentally demands a triple threat tag team match. Instead, we get a regular triple threat match. It's good with a standard story. The heels team up on the babyface while constantly turning on each other. There's lots of fun spots, with my favorite being when AJ puts Seth in the calf crusher and only lets go to avoid Jeff Hardy hitting Seth with a swanton bomb. Out of nowhere, Elias smashes a guitar across Jeff Hardy's back. It's no DQ, so that's technically legal. In shock, AJ cautiously makes the cover and gets the assisted win. Moving on to a pretty boring round 4, Raw coincidentally selects Elias along with Lacey Evans and Sheamus. Darn, there goes my fantasy booking for a new League of Nations. Meanwhile, SmackDown keeps former tag champions Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in an attempt to shore up that division. They also retain Sami Zayn and his Intercontinental title. However, going this late in the draft shows a complete lack of respect for that belt, and it's a shame to see. At least Sami gets away from Jeff and AJ, though. It's time for the match set up earlier in the night. Mandy and Dana have changed into more colorful ring gear and are set to take on Natalya and Lana, who has been portrayed as having improved greatly in the ring. At one point, she even stretches Dana for a while. It's not enough though, as Rose hits the running knee and Brooke hits a senton for the win. Weirdly, Dana's old music plays. Natalya is disgusted by Lana's crying and storms out. Another team bites the dust. Lana sits there making incredibly awkward faces. Ricochet finds the Hurt Business hanging out with the returning Cedric Alexander. He foreshadows Apollo getting drafted to SmackDown, leaving him outnumbered 4-1. So he makes a deal. If he can beat Cedric tonight, they leave him alone for good. But if he loses, he has to join the Hurt Business. Going along with the theme, we get the official breakup of Vega's boys next. Zelina joins commentary as Angel Garza takes on Andrade. I can't tell if she's going the singles route or still managing Andrade, but she definitely hates Angel. She makes fun of Alexa Bliss for playing, quote, dress up with The Fiend despite being a cosplayer herself. It's a quick match with Angel hitting the wing clipper for the win. Zelina checks on Andrade when suddenly the lights go out. They come back on red, showing Alexa doing Bray Wyatt's upside down spider pose in the corner. Scared, Andrade and Vega back away slowly right into the Fiend. He and Alexa each grab a victim and do stereo Sister Abigail's in the coolest visual of the night. I totally didn't see that coming, but loved every second and can't wait to see where they take this pairing. On to round 5, where Raw selects Nikki Cross, leaving the doors open for a possible Bliss Cross Applesauce reunion, 24/7 champion R-Truth, because he's hysterical and they have 3 hours to kill, and Daba Kato, who Stephanie says is, quote, from Raw Underground. Does that imply it's gone? SmackDown selects Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode to build on a weak but now existing tag team division, and Apollo Crews, telegraphed by Ricochet earlier. Next, the New Day defend their newly received Raw Tag Team Championships against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Commentary puts over how Big E is not in attendance tonight. Ziggler scores a near fall with the Famouser, then Xavier Woods runs wild on a hot tag. In the end, they retain with the Midnight Hour. Charlie Caruso interviews Elias about his return and why he attacked Jeff Hardy. He's still mad about that awful drunk driver storyline from a few months ago, apparently, and doesn't believe Jeff was framed, even though I think that was proven. So, in retaliation, he's going to throw a concert next week. I don't get it. Ricochet takes on Cedric Alexander to see if he'll have to join the Hurt Business. It's a predictably good match given the athletes involved. Even better is the ending. The ref is knocked down, so MVP tries to give Alexander a chair, but Ricochet intercepts. He finds himself surrounded, so he pulls an Eddie Guerrero, hits the chair on the ground, throws it at Cedric, and falls over. The ref turns around and, of course, DQs Cedric, giving Ricochet the win. He doesn't have to join the Hurt Business, and they can't mess with him anymore. Good. Now push him. We finally reach the end of the draft with round 6. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel now, as Raw selects Titus O'Neil, who I didn't even know was an active wrestler. They also take Peyton Royce by herself, and Akira Tozawa, I assume to continue his 24/7 shenanigans with R-Truth. SmackDown takes the newly repackaged Carmella and Aleister Black, who is following KO, but hopefully after tonight's match, they're done with each other. Asuka joins commentary for a dual-branded Battle Royale. The winner gets a shot at her Raw Women's Championship. The competitors are Lacey Evans, Billie Kay, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Peyton Royce, Lana, Natalya, Zelina Vega, Tamina, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and the tag team champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, who are the only ones to get an entrance. Nia and Tamina briefly team up, only for Jax to eliminate her former tag partner. She also eliminates Billie Kay, then helps Shayna eliminate Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. The rest of the field, including Shayna, gangs up on Nia and sends her over the top. When she looks up at Baszler, Shayna just shrugs. Pissed off, Nia finds Lana and puts her through the commentary desk again. After a commercial, Bianca Belair eliminates Shayna, then gets eliminated by the Riot Squad. They get subsequently taken out by Lacey Evans and Natalya. The final two struggle on the apron until Natty swings Lacey into the post, eliminating her. But there's no bell and her music doesn't play. Lana, the person Natalya abandoned earlier in the night and was never technically eliminated, appears and kicks Natty off the apron. She's your winner and gets the honor of being murdered by Asuka. The crowd goes mild. During the match, cameras cut to Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton fighting. Drew screams that every Monday night he's going to make Orton his bitch. After the match, we see them again. They brawl around ringside until officials separate them. That was pretty much the same as SmackDown. Good to great TV matches with some actual consequences and even a little storyline development, all overshadowed by completely illogical draft strategies and nonsensical booking. I won't rehash my criticisms, but suffice it to say this draft has left me feeling disappointed and pessimistic about WWE's future. Worst of all, the advertised segment I was looking forward to the most, a promo from Ali explaining the motivations of Retribution and possibly linking them to the SmackDown hacker, never happened. I'm honestly about to just give up and stop watching the product altogether. What a mediocre Raw and a pathetic draft. Alright, that'll do it for Monday Night Raw and the 2020 draft. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'm currently working on a new AEW stage, but it won't be ready for the 1-year anniversary show this Wednesday. Either way, I'll be back on Thursday with my action figure review of Dynamite, so check back then. As always, if you found me and enjoy my content, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at PSUOptimus, or see all my best figure photography on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my review of SmackDown yet, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.